Hello and welcome back to SnowRunner, y'all, and in this video, we are going to be checking out something really cool. Now, this is the 2024 next generation Toyota Tacoma TRD Pro. Now, the specifics of this truck are really interesting, especially in terms of all of the different options that you can get on the real world version, such as everything from a super base model all the way up to a four-wheel drive manual transmission, hybrid, and turbocharged. There are so many options that you can actually get with this truck, and I believe that this is also, regardless of whether it's a mod or not, this one obviously is a mod, but I think regardless of the whole picture, mods or vanilla games, this is the very first time a 2024 Toyota Tacoma has been playable in a video game, at least to my knowledge. And if y'all know any other instances where a Tacoma or new Tacoma 2024 and up has appeared in a video game, let me know in the comments down below, because I'm pretty dang sure that this is the very first time. So, without any further ado, we're going to go ahead and get it into the garage. We're going to walk through the options, and then we're going to take it out on the trails here on the TNB Trails map. And if y'all want to learn any more about the specifics in regards to this truck, make sure you check out YaBuddy's Discord server. The link will be in the description down below. Now, some of you may, of course, notice that this is solid front axle swapped and not independent front suspension. However, I don't think that impacts the overall personality of this version of the truck too much, especially considering the fact that in SnowRunner's physics system, solid front axles tend to perform a little bit better. So let's jump into the engine options. Now let's see, we've got a stock C+, so that's going to be like your ultra vanilla. Then you have performance, which is going to be your top of the range, and then you have upgraded, which is going to be kind of somewhere in the A. So ironically, you could actually kind of think of this like base model being stock, upgraded being the four-cylinder turbo without the hybrid system, and then the performance being the four-cylinder turbo with the hybrid system, because the hybrid system adds a whole bunch of extra torque. And I would be really curious to know how much they had to beef up the driveline in the real world Tacoma to handle all of the extra torque on top of the turbo four-cylinder with the added electric boost. So we're going to go ahead and go with the performance setup. And then, let's see, we've got stock transmission, highway transmission, off-road. I think in the context of being on TNB trails, we'll do the off-road transmission. Now, suspension-wise, we've got stock, and then we've got bumper pull lift kit, and then we have the coilover TRD Max Trail. This is going to be your take on basically anything level of suspension, although some of y'all may think, wait a minute, why is it leaning a little bit to the back? I would bet you that YaBuddy did that specifically to make it better at taking jumps and high-speed impacts and making it a little bit more level in the air should you do some higher speed pre-running with it. I would bet you that that is the case. I could be off a little bit, but knowing the way YaBuddy builds trucks, or rather tunes trucks, that is most likely for a performance benefit. Now, going through the tire options, you start, of course, on 35s, and you get a pretty wide range of tires available in your 35-inch size, but I want to go up just a little bit. Now, let's see, I would imagine that this is probably going to have 35s and then 37s, maybe bigger, but I doubt it's got anything bigger than the option for like a 38 or a 39. I would be, oh my God. Wow, I'm genuinely shocked. Like, I am genuinely shocked that we have 39s as an option. Those are big for a Tacoma. Those are like really big for a Tacoma. Okay. Oh my God. The 39-inch ridge grapplers look huge. They look absolutely massive. And I don't know, I don't know how I feel about tires that massive on a truck of this size. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know. I really, truly don't know. But you've got your spares in the back. Oh my God, your spare fuel cans, your freaking actual spare tire. That's sick. That is so sick. Now let's see. Wait, Wait, LED with daytime manual LED shows up? Oh! So you can actually toggle these, it looks like. That's sick. So let's see. Hold on. Front bumper options wise, we've got your stock setup, and then just a couple of other... Okay, it almost looks like you have to do the cut, and then once you do the cut, then you can come back in with the other options. And now we get to go through and choose our wheel setup. Now, I'm still not entirely sold on the 39s. I'm so back and forth on them. Let me know your thoughts on the tire size in the comments below and whether or not you would run it, because they are so big for what the truck is that I'm like super back and forth about it. I am super back and forth about whether or not I want to keep the tires this massive. Now, I think I'm going to go a little outside of the box with this color combination. I'm going to stick with like this sort of battleship gray on the body color, and then I'm going to go with a bright red for the wheels. Now, I don't know how I feel about the setup in its current state, but I can, or at least it looks like I can put Beans on the dash, although the camera doesn't really show me where Beans is going to go, so I'm going to assume, yeah, there's Beans. Just chilling right up there on top of the dash, rather like, I guess, the gauge cluster shroud. Now, okay, so when you get it outside the garage, it actually seems like the suspension levels out quite a bit, although I would probably want to trim the backside of that fender well if I was building one of these in the real world. So now, let's just take this thing out on the trail and see what it's like to drive. I love how it also sounds like a Tacoma. Like, it's actually got a fairly similar Toyota starter sound. It just adds to that level of, I guess, a little bit of extra, not necessarily like immersion. Well, I guess it could add to the immersion, but it more just adds to the overall like personality of the truck. Oh, look at that suspension behavior. Look at this. Look at the front axle. That's what, it's so smooth. I'm not gonna scrub any speed. Watch this. Oh my God, it only, okay, so it was a little hard of a hit for suspension that's this soft. This isn't quite a racing suspension, but it's definitely more than enough to take up your, I would say, average to moderate impacts. It's for pretty much everything sub a harsh impact. Now, I am gonna go ahead and quickly repair the body damage, and we are good to go. Only because I would kind of rather do that now than wait to do it later. It's such a smooth truck to drive, though. And I think in the real world, I think these trucks are going to be really interesting once the aftermarket starts getting their hands on them. Because if you think about it, we've never really had stuff in this segment before that sort of markets itself as a performance hybrid, because you're dealing with obviously a turbo 4-cylinder and then a added hybrid electric motor on top of that for extra torque. And what I'm kind of really wondering with a system like that is what that's gonna do to the performance once you start seeing these around with modified suspensions and lift kits and bigger tires and people re-gearing the axles and stuff like that. How is all of that going to converse with a hybrid system? I really have no idea, because the only other vehicle that we see even remotely in a similar segment right now is the plug-in hybrid version of the Jeep Wrangler. And even then, you know, Tacoma buyers usually aren't cross-shopping with Jeep Wranglers. If anything, they're cross-shopping with Gladiators, because if they're looking at, you know, if they're looking at a Tacoma anyway, they're going to want a truck bed, and Tacomas and Gladiators have similar-ish bed sizes. I will also say I really like the way the truck is geared. It's geared in such a way where if you throw it in low, I mean, this is foot to the floor. If you put it in low, leave it there, you can chill with your foot on the floor and just crawl. I mean, it's basically like having crawl control without having to quote-unquote select crawl control. You can just sit back and watch the scenery go by. And if you ever want to kick up the pace just a little bit, you can just slide that gear lever right up into low plus, and then you can obviously control your speed a little bit more with the throttle and add a little bit of an extra power bump if you ever need it. But, I mean, the only time you're really going to need it with something that's got this much grip is, I mean, maybe going up a mild to moderate rock face. Well, probably not even a mild rock face, probably moderate rock faces and up. And the more I drive this thing, the more I like it with the 39s. Oh my God. Oh, come on. Come on. God. Oh, reverse is geared pretty high. It's actually geared really, like, aggressively in reverse. And... oh my God! I mean, it rotated. It was sketchy, but it rotated just enough to get there. Also, if you do this with anything other than, like, let's say a purpose-built crawler, you're pretty guaranteed to tear up a bumper or two coming down off of this ledge. Wind it around. And there it is. That was so well done. Like, honestly, that massive praise to this thing for that. Massive props, though. And actually, it looks like we haven't torn up any bumpers yet. Watch me tear up a bumper the second that, well, I mean, we phased a bumper, but we didn't tear it up. And then these are just made to be crawled over. God, this is such a satisfying truck to drive. And especially if you drive it in such a way where it's like, yep, I'm just gonna kick back and enjoy what this thing can do. Oh, you're gonna have such an incredibly good time. I also love how it's been so long since I've been on this particular trail that I don't remember where it goes. I have no idea where this trail actually winds up eventually, and I've got to actually keep an eye on the amount of time I'm spending in this truck, because to be brutally honest, I could just drive this thing around for hours and not realize that the time had passed. This is probably going to be one of my basically chill out trucks that I drive in SnowRunner just to kind of relax when I'm not playing the game. I could definitely see this becoming one of those trucks. Also forgot how freaking steep these corners are. Let's see if we can get a little bit more torque out of it. Oh, come on. Oh, it scrambles right up the hill and high. God, this thing does such an amazing freaking job. It really, really does. And like I said before, if y'all are curious about this thing or you would like to find more info about how you can get your hands on it, make sure you check out YaBuddy's Discord server via the link in the description box down below. Now, that is probably going to do it for this drive, but if y'all enjoyed and you would like to see more, let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, and I will see y'all next time. Talk to y'all later.